Hey guys, so in this video, I'm going to share with you a concept and an ideology that is going to transform the way you do things, especially if you are right now in a position where you want to facilitate transformation for people, perhaps facilitate transformation in groups, and you just don't know how to do it and you don't know what to sell. I hear this all the time from people in this area where they're like, oh, I want to be a coach, or maybe you're already coaching or already healing or facilitating people. And it's coming to this inflection point where you want to do things in groups or you want to cultivate an offering. And the same block keeps so many people blocked for years sometimes, where you're like, I just don't know what to offer, or I don't know how to position it. I don't even know what I would sell. How can I or how do I even know what my gift is, right? So there's usually this inkling, there's usually this felt sense that something wants to come through you, but you just don't know what it is. And the same blocks come over and over again. The first one, most typical, is like, well, I guess I just need to make a course. No, you don't need to make a course. If you think you have to make a course, stop what you're doing right now, all right? Pause everything, put your whole life on hold, and watch this video in its entirety, because it's going to save your life and it's going to save you a lot of money and likely make you a lot of money. Okay, you do not need to make a course for reasons I will explain. In fact, that's probably the first thing we'll get into. The second block that comes up for people is like, but what do? I don't even know what my value is. Maybe I just need to go get a certificate, or I need to train to be so and so in this school, or I need more tools or modalities. There's a time and space for all of that. But chances are, if you're in this position right now, that's not what you need to do. You don't need to learn more stuff. You need to actually do less. And I'll explain that. You don't need a process. You don't need to take people through some course, right? You don't need that. There's a variety of other blocks people come up to with of like, it's generally around these two things of like, do I need a course? What's my thing? I don't even know if my thing is good enough, or how am I even going to help people, right? Like it just feels like there's this emptiness of like, oh, there's nothing here. I'm scared. I have my pants down and I'm afraid people will see it. So I need to make a course, or I need to find out what my thing is and rigidly hang on to it, whether it's hypnotherapy or tapping or some modality or parts work or any other healing modality, or whatever it is that you're bringing people through with whatever business you're working. This doesn't apply to just healing, but it's generally any transformation or education business out there in the world. You don't need to do any of those things. I've tapped into something now for a couple of years, and it is an ideology first and foremost, but just a way of moving and being that has allowed me to make this jump in my life very fluidly. And if you listen to what I have to say to you in this video, the last thing on your mind after this is going to be, what do I sell? Or do I need to make a course? Or what is my thing? It's going to be the last thing on your mind. And you're going to be able to just fluidly move into doing what you probably want to do, which is just go out and help people and create a very leveraged business for yourself and actually do the mission that you feel called to do, and to work with people deeply and to listen to people and allow the natural evolution of your true value of the thing, the gift, the passion that you actually have for working with people, for doing the work that is being called to be done through you in this life. You allow that to actually move. And what's going to happen is you're going to feel more empowered, more fulfilled, more juiced up. There'll be more students around you all the time. You're going to be part of creating the new education system. And the truth will be revealed of like what your real gift actually is. And when that starts to happen, it gets really, really exciting. It gets really exciting because you can lean more and more into your essence, do less, and facilitate transformation in ways that you can't even fathom. And it's going to be worth a lot more money, funny enough, and you're going to do less. Are you ready for this adventure? I hope you are. So sit back with me and pay close attention, all right? So, again, you don't need to make a course, all right? You don't need to put a name on it or a label on it. All you need to do is do something which I call create a circle of embrace. What is a circle of embrace? Well, it's as small as just me and another person, or you and another person, or you and a group. What it means is just embracing another human being and just trusting that as you spend time with that human being, naturally there'll be an energetic exchange between you and that person or those people that will occur. The more that you allow it and the more you get curious about it, that will transform those people's lives, that will shift their lives, just by nature of you being with them in proximity. Okay? No coursework, no destination, just proximity. All right? This is just pure physics. All right? If you are someone and you've got this amount of energy, this amount of expertise in one area, be it transformation or hypnotherapy or somatic experiencing or real estate or sailing, whatever it is, okay? If you bring people around you who are less experienced, right? It's just physics. They'll be drawn to you because they want to be around your energy so that energy transfer can spill over from you to them. What that means is when people are around you, they feel your depth of embodiment. Nobody wakes up in the morning saying, oh my gosh, if I just bought one more course, or if I just take this other person's linear process, if I just could do that, man, that's going to shift my life. Doesn't happen, right? But what people are craving for on a soul level is to be with a mentor, somebody who embodies something in their lives that they don't yet embody. And they want to spend time with that person because it's really all about your energy. It's not what you know. It's not what you say. It's not what the tools you have. I mean, sure, there's a time and place for all of that, right? But it's really about your energy. There's something, the real transformation, the real transfer of skill, the real transfer of knowledge and experience doesn't happen on a conscious level. It happens on a subconscious level, 99% of it. It happens through the nuances of spending time with someone. If I am moving and operating in a certain way, if you spend time with me, part of you will start to move in that way. Your brain will start to mirror my neurons, my synapses. The way I'm wired up will start to reflect in you. Maybe you've experienced this where you spend time around someone where they talk a certain way and you spend a lot of time with them. You see this a lot in married couples. They just kind of talk and act the same way. Or you spend time with someone who's happy and you start to think happier thoughts. You spend time with someone who is experienced in a certain area, that experience starts to reflect back on you. It's 99% energetic. And the real transformation that happens for people, it's not when they're taking a linear coursework or doing some process you taught them, whatever. Again, time and place for that. But the real transformations, the life-shifting thing that they're paying you money for, or that they will pay you money for, or that they'll just have their lives will change forever, is the moment where they move from their head to their heart, that 12-inch journey. They have a realization, something just pops open, and their lives are transformed forever. It could have been something you said. It could have been something you said 12 times, but the 13th time you said it, it's like, oh, I finally get it. Or because someone asked that one question in the group, they finally see it, and now it's different. There it is. It's that meeting between the essence of you and the essence of the container that you create, and just that one person and their energy. And that meeting point creates an apex where there's a spark, and all of a sudden, everything shifts. That's the real value, my friends. That's real education. That's real transformation at play. When you go to like a Tony Robbins seminar, for example, if you have, or any kind of like transformative event, right? Do you go there because you're like, I hope on day 3, on slide number 4, he shows this. Yeah, that's what I'm paying $5,000 for. So, no, you go there because you just want to be in the energy. You just know, you feel that there's something that's drawing you, like this is it. This is where I have to be. I just know it. And, the transformations and the aha moments usually come from the people you connect with. And you might be there saturated in what's happening, but you watch someone have a epiphany, and that sparks something in you, and then the transformation happens. And of course, the linear stuff is sometimes helpful, but it's rarely ever the actual thing. Okay. And so what I've been doing for the past year now is doing something which I'm coining here called the circle of embrace, where instead of linear coursework, where instead of like saying what it is or telling people it's some freaking process, I just invite people into a container, a group. I have a weekly meetup with this group. It's a Zoom meeting, right? And in that Zoom meeting, all I do is I just say, I just lean back and I just listen to people. And magic happens. Like, people's lives are shifted and transformed. That's all I do, is I just show up and I go, hi, here I am. And sometimes there's silence, and then someone will ask a question and it will launch an entire transformative thing. And all of a sudden someone else asks a question and then we launch into transformative thing there. Sometimes I don't even do anything and people help each other, right? And then they go, oh my God, this is the most amazing container ever. It's helped me so much. That's all you do. You just lean back and you listen. The reason why the idea exists that you need a course or you need some process to sell, or you need an offer, let's explore that right now. I've given you a bit of a taste of what this really is, and I'm sure you have a bunch of questions. But it comes down to our programming, okay? Our entire world is built on the pyramid of the dominator system, where the authority is at the top, right? And all the peons are gradually distributed from the bottom. And you might have had this feeling when you first went to school in first grade, where you just showed up as a kid. You're like, this is really strange. What am I doing here? Like, all these people, they keep telling me what to do. I have to sit in my seat all the time and not play and not have fun, But eventually you just buy into that reality. You're like, okay, I guess they know and I don't, and I need to learn and sit here for 12 years and, no. And that becomes your reality. It's something that's deeply programmed into us. It's not natural. And what's programmed into us is that there is such a thing as authority, and it's outside of you. And so therefore you need to go through a gradual process to rise in authority. And once you make it to your rise destination, then you will have the right to distribute knowledge and be somebody. Of course, by then you're mostly dead and depressed and in debt. Life doesn't work that way. It works very differently. But this programming and this conditioning really messes you up when it comes to sharing what you've come to share with the world. It really does. The fear that I'm not enough, that I am not the authority yet. Why does it happen? Because that whole program is a false program. Right? So I want to share. I want to come into a group and really share my knowledge, but I don't know enough. What do they think? Well, I need a course to hide behind that. And we'll talk about why courses are a terrible idea. Or I need to know what it is. I need to figure it out. Oh, what do I call it? What do I price it? I need a strategy. Let me spend thousands of dollars on marketing strategy. That's just going to perpetuate the suffering, okay? The reason why that's happening is because there's that false notion that I'm not the authority yet. But what if you didn't have to be? What if the idea of authority never existed in the first place? Consider that. What if what you're here to do is not to share your knowledge, not to take people through a process or to instill a framework on top of them, but to actually be a facilitator of space and a facilitator of transformation? And what you're here to actually share is the light that's actually pouring through you, as it is through everyone, and facilitate and empower other people to be a signpost, a lighthouse, an anchor of an energetic state where other people can learn to find their own answers and learn to ask the right questions just by virtue of being in your presence, to the point where they don't even need you anymore. Complete different paradigm shift. Instead of being in this authority top-down structure, you flip it on its head, or you get rid of the pyramid thing altogether, and you create a circle. We're all human beings. We're all spiritual beings having a human experience. That human experience is largely trauma-based. It's very confusing. We're here to assist the natural flow of energy moving through the dissemination of wisdom and knowledge that will make this ride for you way smoother. I'm just an example for that, and I'm holding space and facilitating this for us. I have experiences and processes that might be helpful in certain periods, but there'll be a time and space for that. But none of it matters because I'm just here to listen, to prescribe the right one in the right moment, and to ask the right questions. Do less, achieve way more. You're no longer dependent on this question of like, do I know enough? Will this thing be enough so that I am enough of an authority where people trust me? You lean into that fear. You lean into that emptiness. And you allow spirit to guide you. And I'm telling you, this is what I've been doing. And it's a million times more energetically potent and effective than courses or frameworks. Again, there's a time and place for it, but not in here. This idea that you need to be the authority and that you're not enough is the crux that destroys everybody in this space or slows them down. I have seen so many people just lose their shit. And it's the same skin, the same clothing that everybody's trying to shed. That's why they're trying to learn from you in the first place, right? They're coming with the same sickness. I'm not enough. I'm not the authority. I want to take a course so I become the authority. Of course, there are skills to learn. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like learning doesn't exist. You need skills, right? There are genuine processes. But for the majority of the industry in the education space, for sure right now, it is saturated with an overload of frameworks, especially in the marketing and business world. It's just like this endless feedback loop of like, I'm a marketer. I've learned marketing. Come into my course so I can teach you how I sold you. So you will learn the frameworks that I learned that will teach you how to sell what I sold to you. So you can sell other people the same thing that I told. It just becomes this constant feedback loop. It's a false synthetic economy that doesn't actually teach anything. There's no real substance in it. It's an addiction and you just don't need it anymore. The reason why courses suck is because they detract from the magic that happens in a circle of embrace. Once you do this and you see the magic of it, you'll never go back, okay? What courses do is they're built on that false idea that, oh, there's emptiness here. Nobody's going to value just me spending time with them. So I got to show them all these things that I have, right? Like, oh, look, you've just spent some money with me. Look, here's a course. Come in. Oh, okay, cool. Right. Have any questions? Just go through that. I'll be here on Monday. It forces people through a very linear pipeline, right? Again, it's all energy. It's the time with you, those aha moments. So you're creating friction between you and your people, your students, the people that could mentor with you. And you're saying, jump through all these hoops and then, you learn all this stuff. It's actually taking you away from the moment. Again, time and space for that. If there's something critical, you'll find out. You will find out. We'll talk about that in a moment. And you can put that into a linear coursework, but you usually be like way less than you actually think you need to do, right? There are some essentials, but it's not this huge thing, right? So it creates a lot of space between people, a lot of friction. But the other reason why it sucks is it detracts from the magic, the true value discovery, which would actually happen if you just went a cappella, if you just let go and you said, okay, we're just hosting a group once a week or twice a week, whatever, come. Something incredible happens there. You start to listen, right? And you start to get really curious. What is the actual problem that people are having? And what will happen 10 times out of 10 is in the beginning, as you start your business, your thing, you have a lot of assumptions. You think that, oh, what I'm really here to do for people is this. And that's usually where people make their courses from. Yeah, so come and take my 49 video part course, right? On how to do blah, blah, blah. It just squeezes everything in linearly. And sure, people might get some results. You might get good stuff, but nowhere near what would happen if you do this other thing. Because what happens is you realize you thought it was this thing, but it's something completely different. What it's called is a true value phase, where you drop all assumptions. You don't even know why you're there. You just know you're called to be there. Oh my God, these really annoying loud beetles are starting in the trees. I hope you can still hear me. I'm going to tell them to shut up and see if they listen. Hey, be quiet. Hey, it worked. The bugs are listening to me. If they come back, whatever. The true value phase is that discovery. You just assume that you know nothing. You don't even know why you're there. And just watch what happens. You get really curious as to what people's problems really are. What do they really need to hear from you? What are their actual challenges? And what you'll discover is that it's something very different. It's very intrinsic to you. Like, I used to think, like, a year ago, I was some like life coach that helped people like overcome their blocks or their money issues or something. Now, after a year of doing this, what I've discovered about me is that I have very different gifts that I thought I had. And the people who come to spend time with me are there for a very different reason. They're there to come alive to like their true life and to really turn their life into an adventure. And I used to think that I had to like help people like run their business and get results financially. That often is the side effect of working with me, because when things come into alignment, everything improves. But it's none of that. It's like some people tell me like, dude, I don't even care about the outcome. I just want to hang out with you because you do this, this, and this for me. And previously in my life, I was just trying to force people through this like very linear context of like, do this, do this, do this, take this protocol, do that. And it was just deadening. It took away from that magic and that fun. As soon as I went into the circle of embrace model and just unplugged and started to listen, that's when I got curious. And I started to give space for the emergence of something completely different among people. Go away. That can't happen if you get fixated about a course or a protocol or a thing that, or a container, to calling it something. It just can't happen. It will always be a shadow of what you could be if you let yourself go, of the magic that could happen if you let go of the framework. And this is true for any transformational industry. You know, people usually will learn a skill, and then they'll latch onto that skill. Like for me, it's been trauma healing and heart-based transmutation. I'm very good at it. I can assist people through healing depression, shame, doubt, fear, like in moments. Okay, and very often that has direct repercussions on their health and their well-being, moving through pain that's been locked in their bodies for many years. I can do that. But as long as I got fixated in that, it's like I had a hammer and everything became a nail. And I was like, okay, I can fix that for you. Let's do a session. Let's do a little thing. And that's like every session I had with people, it just became like me doing that dance. All right, here I am, the mind body healing guy. Let's do it over and over again. It was like the same week, every single week, over and over again. I wasn't actually evolving in my work. And so my students weren't evolving. They're like, okay, I guess he's just here to teach us this one thing. Okay, and then they, look somewhere else to try to get the deeper breakthrough that they're looking for. The circle of embrace allows you to go deep. And because you go deep, they go deeper with you. And so the deeper issues will come up. And when those deeper core issues in their lives come up, wow, you will naturally then be able to assist them through that, just through your questions, through whatever comes through you. And then a deeper value will emerge for them in their life that will be worth so much more than what they initially invested to be with you. There's so much magic in this. So much magic in this. And so as this happens over months, usually this is prescribed to do this for at least a year, is you start to see like patterns. Okay, people keep asking about this. Oh, that's the deeper issue. Oh, and then we solve that and this happened. And this is actually bringing my awareness to this other thing. Oh, I thought I was a hypnotherapist, or I thought I was a mind-body healer, or I thought I was doing this, but actually I'm helping people with this other broader thing. Ooh, that's like, you would have never seen it. You would have never seen your value if you were just like framework, course, package. What is it? Like you would have never seen it. And because you now see it, now you can productize it. Now you can be like, okay, we'll make 3 videos or 4 videos about these foundations. Just watch that. But the rest of the time, we're just going to hang out together and we'll implement them and we'll see what else arises. And this process just goes deeper and deeper and deeper. And so you create a resonance energetically around this thing. It's a felt thing. People are like, this is awesome. I'm learning so much with you. And because that's felt, you feel it. You know the value of the thing. And so when it comes to selling it and telling people about it and inviting people into it, it's way more effortless and they feel the value, and it goes over into your sales and into your business and all that. Next, I want to share with you how to actually execute this, right? So there's a lot of execution things, but to really bring this home, this is so important. The number one reason why courses suck and this other ideology, the top-down authoritarian structure, why that sucks, is because what you're doing in that moment is you're just creating a stamp in time. So this happened to me. At one point in my journey, I learned how to love myself, and it really changed my life. So I thought, okay, cool. I want to be a coach. I will teach people how to love themselves. I'll make a course on self-love. A couple months making this thing and started selling it and helping people through it and piping people through a linear framework. And again, it just became this repetitive act of like, here's how to do this thing, here's how to do that thing. And over time, first month, 2 months, maybe the year, if you're lucky, it's like you can keep that up. But year 2, year 3, you've evolved as a person. You don't even care about self-love anymore, right? It's something completely different that's alive for you in your life. But you're still selling and coaching and teaching this thing that you were 3 years ago. Some people are teaching and coaching stuff that they started 20 years ago, and they're still in the business and they're miserable, right? But like, well, I'm this person that teaches people how to do that. And then the entire marketing framework is built on that. You have to discover who you are, and you make a blanket statement. I'm a self-improvement coach that helps entrepreneurs with addiction problems through a unique process of blah, blah, blah. Helpful framework in the beginning. It's like training wheels to get you going, but it's not where you have to go, especially if you're at this inflection point of, if you're drawn to this material right now. You're looking to go deeper. You're looking to create something of substance and value. And to actually scale, you have to go deeper. You've got to slow down time and look deeper within. There's a scaling of going inwards, which actually allows you to have way more leverage with your students and your offerings. Meaning you can charge way more money, create deeper transformations, and create lifelong relationships with people and shift people's lives in ways that you couldn't even imagine before. If you do that other thing, you just become a shadow of who you are right now. You're never really teaching from here, from the direct moment. You're always teaching something that was in the past, and so it's dead. And it might be helpful to some people, but in the end, you won't feel really alive with it. And because you won't feel alive with it as much, the people that you work with, they'll only get a shred of the transformation that you can really offer for them. It's like, it's so sad. You're actually robbing them and yourself, and likely your finances as well. And so that brings us full circle to, how do you actually execute Circle of Embrace? I hope by now you're starting to get it. This is where the leverage is. This is where the actual fun is. This is how you actually do it. All right. By now you should be thinking like, oh, okay, so all I got to do is just hold space for people, right? Great. Yeah. That's all you really got to do. There's your offering. That's what you sell. Space, empty space. Believe me, way more valuable, very undervalued, empty space. That's where all the magic comes through. The moment, the now moment. All right. That's how you execute. It's a very different thing from this pyramid structure, top-down thing. The first few times you do it, you might be just like, what's happening? Oh, I need to control this thing. What do I do? That's how I approached it in the beginning. Again, that's the authority crumbling down. I don't know what to do. I should be in charge. I should have all the answers. I should have a plan. No, you just go in there and you just listen. Whether it's with one person or whether it's with 30 people or 10 people, you just listen. You lean into this uncomfortable silence. And in the silence, you start to hear your own inspirations of what you could share. People will ask questions. people will start to feel safe enough over time to show who they really are and ask deeper questions. Deeper questions will provoke and bring out of you deeper things. And the important thing to keep in mind, or a focal point, is the divine, is that silence. To really know and understand that you're not doing anything. You're allowing it to be done through you. So a mantra, a prayer that I always say is, I'm not here to do anything. Please use me, God, the divine, to facilitate the transformations that are going to happen today with this group. I give myself to you. Allow it to be done through me. That is so liberating, so powerful, because you can just kind of like sit and watch this thing, be like, okay, cool, what's happening today? Oh, okay, so-and-so has a question about trauma or this thing in their business. All right, cool. I wonder what Casper will come out today. Sometimes I'll literally say, I have no idea how to help you. Rarely though. But then 5 minutes later, as I get out of my own way, as the idea that I need to have an idea is surrendered, then we laugh about it, and then the real thing comes through. Okay, cool, here's the real thing. There's also a profound letting go that happens where you can let the answers come from other people. Some of the deepest, most transformative moments that have come in the circle of embrace that I facilitate have come from other people. But you don't think of them as other people. When you create a circle of embrace, be it a shamanic ceremony or a Zoom meeting, you start to merge all your hearts as one. It's happening by default. It's the reality anyway. And so who are you to think all the answers have to come from you? What if they didn't? Right? What if you were a facilitator that brought these people together and trust that all the wisdom, all the knowledge is actually there? It's so fun to watch people help other people, right? Of course, you as a facilitator can come in, and again, it's a nuanced thing. You will learn over time with your group how it works, and you can interject. But more often than not, I'm learning to just lean back and actually let the magic happen. Because who am I to impose a linear process thinking that this is why people are here and this is what has to happen? The moment I did that and I just leant back and I let go of my attachment to outcomes and results, the real transformations that were happening for people started to happen that I didn't even know where. I wouldn't have even seen them. I wouldn't have banked on them. I wouldn't even have thought, is that even a valuable thing, right? Like one time someone came in and they get, we just talk about random stuff or like books we're reading, and someone's like, oh my God, I'm going to read that book. I'm like, oh, cool. Maybe they needed to read that book, right? And they're reading that book and it's changing their lives and blowing their mind. That would have never happened if I was like, all right, guys, linear coursework, we're going through steps 1 to 10, and how are you integrating that thing? Like, no, right? So that wouldn't happen. Sometimes there have been people who struggled. And they struggled because I was insisting on some linear thing. Okay, here you are struggling with that problem again. Maybe you didn't get it the first time. Let's do it again and rewind the thing. In those situations, it's very important to listen deeper and really get curious about what has to happen for that individual. Just you presencing them and being aware with them of what's going on is already moving things, because presence and awareness is the only thing that can actually shift someone's life. It's the only thing that can make a difference in someone's life. Start with awareness. That's what cultivates the whole transformation. You have to detract yourself and divorce yourself from this idea that you are the authority. The authority has light and shadows, right? And its shadow side, easy to see, easy to kind of divorce yourself from, like, I'm the dominator, I have all the answers, right? We can kind of be humble with that. The other shadow side, or the light shadow side of the authority is, I'm here to save you. That will mess you up. You don't want to save anybody. What you want to do is to be a space for people to be safe in their darkness, in their problems, in their challenges. In the group, in the circle of embrace, when I've stopped trying to save people and I'm like, okay, you're having a hard time and I see we're not really moving through this, but we'll just be there for you with it. Magically, a week later, you wouldn't believe, guys, everything's shifted. My whole life is just transformed. That's all people need. It's just that space to be really seen and heard. There are people who come on the call with me, they just talk for an hour straight. I don't even say anything sometimes because most people have no one to talk to. It can be a very lonely place if you're in an awakening process, right? It's a very, very lonely world for some people. They've never had anyone listen to them, let alone listen with love. So the value of that space is so freaking profound. And then you might say one or two things and someone's life is shifted forever. No coursework, no framework, no mechanics, no it's 3 months for so and so much money. It's like, forget all that. That's all keeping you from just like the nakedness of what it actually is. So that's very important, to divorce yourself from that idea that you're the savior. You don't have to save anybody through it. Listening constantly to see what actually wants to come through today. There's a deep, deep allowing that is required on the execution of this. You have to constantly remind yourself that whatever's happening in the group, in the container, for anybody and everybody is exactly what needs to be happening. This is harder if you haven't divorced yourself and done the previous steps. Divorce yourself from the idea that you need to save anybody or have the answers or be the authority, because people will have a hard time. People will struggle. It's very easy to attribute that to I haven't given them the right steps. No, even if you gave them the right steps, trust me, you would have struggled. I've been in courses with people that have given me a whole linear framework. I still struggled. People still had a very shitty, very hard time. You have to just assume that it's part of the process. That is their process. And that you're not there to save them. All the tools you might give them, they're not there to save them. You're there as just an anchor, an energetic guidepost, a portal to something else. Hold them to a higher vision. Hold them to a higher standard. Hold them to a new potential. And it doesn't matter if you're teaching guitar or hypnotherapy or heart healing or sales. You're there to hold them to a new possibility, right? Another thing that gets people really messed up with this is what if there's so many people and I can't help them all, right? And they'll need my one-on-one attention. Is it one-on-one or group? No, you don't want to do. You want to move away from one-on-one as possible and move into a group. The group always gets easier with more people that are in there. Let me tell you why. If you have one person, there's this sabotage of that true value that happens in a group, because it's just very, ping pong. As soon as there's more people, you become a hive mind. And the hive mind has the potential to draw on infinitely more resources. So this idea that I have one person, they have 4 questions, I have to answer 4 questions, right? So if I have 10 people in the group and they all have 4 questions, that's 40 questions. I don't have time for that, right? That's what stops people from doing this. It's not going to happen like that. What will happen is you have 10 people, someone will ask one question, everybody stays quiet because they're like, wow, that answers all my questions. It just works that way. The universe starts working through you together cohesively to give people an upgrade in ways that just you can't think this way up. Okay, you just can't think this through. Like one meeting I was on with a woman I was sitting we were sitting together. I remember this, and she had a bunch of stuff and someone else had something and someone else said something, and all of a sudden this inkling just she had a transformative experience. Someone else learned something from it, and then it was just pure silence and joy. These kind of things happen all the time. You connect together, and it's like your energies merge, and the question that would have happened normally for one person just becomes a different question, and it's connected to everybody else, and it just solves it for them. And most importantly, this is probably what I'm going to leave you here in this training, is everything is caught. It's not really taught. The deepest transformations that you will facilitate for people aren't from what you know or what you say or the processes that you give people or even the answers that you give them. It's going to happen through an energy exchange that happens to people just watching how you live, watching how you blink your eyes, your gestures with your hands. All communication is mostly subconscious. It's in who you are as a person. What I'm transmitting to you right now is not just what I'm saying for the sake of making this video. I'm transmuting with you the conviction that I have in this, which has occurred through 1 year of showing up religiously for the circle of embrace that I facilitate and all the learnings that I've had through it. It's also the run for 2 or 3 miles that I experienced yesterday, and the discipline I've cultivated in my body of running for over the past 6 months. It's the water I've been drinking instead of drinking pop for the past 10 years or something. It's all these choices in my life that are in the undercurrent of my words. You're getting that download. In the same way, with the people that you care for, with the circle of embrace that you host, you will be a transmission for them of the type of life that you live, of the visions that you've been able to cultivate in your life, the discipline that you've been able to adhere to, the beliefs that you've been able to bust, the love that you've chosen above hate, the forgiveness that you've unfolded and gifted your heart into above bitterness and pain. All of that is in a silent transmission of your heart. And that is absorbed by people through them watching you. People will watch how you do things and they'll copy you. And that will be the transformation. And that's the product. That is the value. It's nothing else. It's not the coursework. It's not the framework. It's not like, do I do this in a group or do I do it and do I do a call once a week or two times a week? It's up to you. That's not the thing, okay? It doesn't matter. That's not the deciding factor. The only thing that you need to do is to decide to show up for people. Then just put a price on it and decide how often you want to show up. And just watch it take on a life of its own. How you sell that, this is where people get mixed up. And it's probably too much for this training, but I'll leave you just with a short caveat here. The sale, it sells itself. But the real offer here isn't even all the stuff we talked about. It's just a promise. When you meet someone, you get really clear on their challenge and their problem. You get clear on what they really want for their lives. And you say, okay, cool. Based on what you really want for your life, I would really love to invite you into this. And you know, that thing that you talked about here, where we're going to help you with this through this process that you'll discover and these insights that will happen for you. And we'll take you to where you want to go through this, right? You can talk a little bit about the process, but you deep inside, you know, it's really the magic that happens back there. If everything that I just described, that's where the transformation will happen for them. You get clear on someone's vision for their life and you assist them in by reflecting that back to them and saying, okay, this is where you want to go. This is where this will take you. Are you in? And that's it. I hope this has answered a lot of questions for you. If you started this video thinking, you know, what do I offer? What do I do? How do I give my value to the world? What do I sell? How do I position it? I hope by now you're able to discard a lot of these ideas and have the faith and conviction to lean into a circle of embrace. If you have any questions about this, then I'd love to help you. Just post your comments down below. And if you'd like further help in this, in whatever area of work or whatever business you're working with, there's a link down below. We can get on the call together and we'll just simply get on that phone call, get really clear on where you are and where you want to go. And if it sounds like you'd be a fit for the work that we do and the circle of embrace that I have, then I'll invite you into it. There's also a couple of things you might want to check out down below here. There's a trip in Greece coming up. I'm putting together a sailing expedition in Greece for people who want to dive deep into this type of work. Check that out. It's called Sail the Stars. I'm also organizing a hiking expedition in the Swiss Alps this summer in Switzerland. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. If you want to come and work with me in private and work with other people who are on this frequency and come and explore the majestic mountains of Switzerland, have a lot of fun, explore towns in Switzerland and play, enjoy amazing sunsets and views, then you're invited. Check out that link down below. I'll see you next time. Ciao.